recent drownings and rescues that we've had to do have been with local people. These haven't been tourists, these haven't been visitors who have been affected by our winter storms and our winter beaches. And so reaching our local communities, that's what we need your help to do. So thank you very much for being here. Beaches along California coastlines can be dangerous any time of year. They're very unpredictable all year long, but wintertime is especially the most dangerous time of year to be walking along the beaches. And that's because of the high surf. It's why Mavericks really enjoys having their surf contests in the wintertime, but it can be unpredictable and dangerous for people who aren't prepared or who don't know what to look for when they're walking along the beaches. This affects not just people who are walking along the beaches, but also our fishermen. We've had several tragedies in Golden Gate National Recreation Area involving people who had no idea that they would be getting wet that day. So helping us get the word out is important because we need people to come prepared and recognize the dangers that are out there before they get there. It's important for everyone to have their own safety in mind when they visit the coastline of California, whether they're surfing, fishing, walking their dog, or just, checking out the view, taking photos. It's amazing how myopic your view gets when you're looking through a viewfinder, and how the wave will be the 6-inch wave is the one that will knock you down. We have had some especially tragic moments just recently, within the last couple of months. One of the most visible and one of the ones that really inspired especially the Coast Guard to start communicating about people who were walking dogs along the beach is the family who drowned up in Humboldt County trying to rescue their dog. A 16-year-old boy saw his dog go into the surf. He was concerned about that dog's ability to get back out. He went into the water. His parents were concerned about his ability to get back out of the water, and sadly the only one of that who made it back out of the water was the dog. Both the parents and the 16-year-old boy drowned in that incident. We had another incident where a woman was walking with her dog along the beach, also in Northern California, and a sneaker wave knocked her and her husband down. She was pulled into the water. Her husband went in to try and rescue her, and sadly he did not survive that attempt to rescue her. She was helped out and did survive, and the dog made it out of the water by himself. We had a third incident where a woman was walking with her dog and her boyfriend along the beach, and she was knocked down by a wave and pulled out to the ocean, and she did not survive. The dog did make it out of the water on his own. So we have had some very tragic moments recently. We also had a fisherman and his 8-year-old son washed out to sea by a sneaker wave that pulled them right off of the rocks that they had been standing on for quite a long time at that point. So it caught them off guard and unprepared.
Good morning. As Alex pointed out, there has been some real tragic situations that have occurred in Northern California. We felt it, and we want to help get the message out and help prevent even more loss of life. The surf season's starting to come to an end, but beach safety should be on everybody's mind because it's not an isolated incident. It's going to occur every year. It's going to keep going on. So everyone needs to be safe and vigilant at all times. A lot of people use their dog as an excuse to go out to the beach. I know I do. I have a spaniel dog, and I take him out to the beach. And when you do, you got to keep some things in mind. You got to keep some safety tips in mind to keep both him safe and yourself safe. Prevent your dog from getting swept out to sea, just like you want to prevent yourself and your children from getting swept out to sea. But the other thing too, if you have a larger dog, like I have a 70-pound dog, I know that if he did get swept away, I have 100% confidence that he could make it back okay. I don't have the same amount of confidence for myself because I've seen what the Pacific Ocean has done to people, and I've seen what it's done to dogs. And I think as a dog owner, I have enough confidence in my dog that I'm going to try to keep him out of that situation. But if he goes in there, I have enough confidence that he'll be able to get out. So we're telling people, don't go in after your dogs. I can't stress that enough. If your dog gets washed away and they're a water dog, they're probably going to make it back okay. In all these situations that we've seen in the last few years, the dogs have made it back okay. Dogs, it's because they're it's because of their anatomy. They've got an elevated head and eyes. They're naturally going to go with the flow. They're not going to fight the rip current the way people will. And we'll have some people talk a little bit more about what rip current will do, but when you get caught in the rip current, you're supposed to not fight it. You're supposed to swim parallel to the shore. So a dog is naturally going to bob along and go with the flow and come back to shore, and they'll be there to greet you. And make sure they have a collar and a microchip so that if they do make it back to shore, you can be reunited much quicker. It's also really important that if you see a lot of the beaches around here have posted signs warning about rip currents. So make sure you look at those. You understand that you're in a position where you could get swept out to sea. It's a hazardous situation. It's a beautiful situation, but it's a hazardous situation. So you want to do everything you can to protect yourself. So listen to the signs. If they say stay off the rocks, stay off the jetty, stay off the low-lying areas, that's good advice. They're not there for decoration. When there's a high surf advisory, honestly, I don't even go near the beach. When there's a high surf advisory in effect, and we've had some over the last couple of weekends, I stay away from the beach. I go and explore the great parks and hills that we have in the area. The best advice I can say, if there's a high surf advisory in effect, listen to that advisory. Just steer clear of the beaches. It's not safe for you. It's not safe for your pets.
Each year, the National Park Service conducts thousands of water rescues and assists across the nation. Drowning is the most likely cause of accidental death a park visitor faces when visiting any public land. Because it only takes 6 to 8 inches of water to knock a person down and get them into a situation they didn't expect, swimmers are not the only ones who are subject to this. Hikers, photographers, and fishermen get caught and pulled out to sea just as easily. Recent activities at Golden Gate include November 17th, when a surfer was pulled out to sea and stranded on the rocks at San Francisco's Ocean Beach, requiring rescue from the U.S. Coast Guard. December 29th, the tragedy of a father and son drowned after they were swept out to sea while fishing in the Marin Headlands. Again, on January 19th, 4 surfers were pulled out to sea and stranded on the rocks at Ocean Beach, requiring the U.S. Coast Guard to respond. January 21st, a surfer was again rescued from the rocks at Ocean Beach by U.S. Coast Guards. Recent activity at Stinson Beach included U.S. Park Rangers Scott Nash and Naven Chan, who were on foot patrol at Stinson Beach and heard the screams for help. They immediately responded to see an unconscious bodyboarder who was being pulled from the sea by park visitors. Ranger Chan and Ranger Nash retrieved the AED, discovered that there was no pulse, and began emergency CPR activities. An emergency helicopter landing zone was established. The patient was flown out by Reach, and he's in stable condition at this time. What these incidents bring out is that park visitors with years of experience of water activity underestimate their conditions of the sea and occasionally overestimate their own abilities. Drowning is the third leading cause of accidental death in the United States and the second leading cause of accidental death for persons aged 5 to 44. Drowning is the leading cause of accidental death for children in the 1 to 2 year age range. And in California, Florida, and Hawaii, drowning is the leading cause of accidental death for persons under 15 years of age. Whenever you're around the water, supervisors of school-aged children need to take what's called the touch supervision approach. You should always be able to touch a child that you're supervising. If you're 100 yards away up on the shore while your child is playing down at the water's edge with a sandcastle, you're too far away. Also, you should always use the buddy system. Whether you surf, fish, or swim, always use the buddy system, and select swimming sites that have lifeguards when available. Third, learn CPR. It does save lives, and it makes a difference. And lastly, learn to swim. It's a very important skill, especially for people who live in the Bay Area and near the water.
Number 1 would be the untrained rescuer drowning or attempting to make rescues. Oftentimes our most serious rescues involve people who aren't out there surfing or trying to body surf or swim. It's the person walking down the beach or someone going in after their dog or their child. The most important thing you can do is call 911 if you see someone in distress in the water. You can keep an eye on their location So when rescuers do come, you can inform them where they are. That can be very helpful. Also, if somebody does go under, their last seen point is crucial for rescuers who show up. So the best thing you could do again is call 911 and keep your eyes on the victim and where they might be going down or where the currents are taking them. Also, I want to talk about rogue waves, or some people refer to them as sleeper waves. This is like a large wave that's going to break in between smaller waves. They're not very frequent. They're gonna break up onto dry sand and dry rocks, so people aren't aware of them. That's why it's important that you never turn your back to the ocean and you're always aware of your surroundings when you're in a beach environment. If you are caught off guard by a rogue wave, it only takes 6 to 8 inches of water to knock a grown person off their feet. And many times on our North Coast beaches, you're going to be rolled into an inshore hole, which is a deep body of water right off the shore. So it's important that you stay high and dry on big days when there's surf. If you are sucked into the water, we have a lot of rip currents up here in Northern California. Rip currents are bodies of water, much like a river, where the current is flowing out from the beach. They can be large, small, but one thing is they're strong and they will take you out. So if you ever find yourself caught in a rip current, the most important thing to do is remain calm, do not panic. You want to tread water and stay afloat. If you can swim parallel to the beach to get out of the rip current, that's great, because there'll always be waves to help bring you back to shore. But most importantly, remain calm if you're ever stuck in a rip current. I'd also like to talk about hypothermia. If you are going to be recreating in the ocean here in California, especially Northern California, it's important that you know your limits and wear the proper equipment. Have a good wetsuit that fits you, and make sure that you are using the buddy system. Hypothermia is basically when the core temperature drops, and this is very life-threatening, so you need to be wearing a wetsuit if you're swimming or recreating in the ocean up here.
We do rescue swimmer training in the bay frequently, a couple times a week. But for the surf ops training, we schedule it about once a month to once every other month. This time of year especially is a great time for us to train, as with the Mavericks competition and the waves picking up in the area, we're able to get really good training for all crew members. So surf ops, what's involved is simulated survivor, which is one of our qualified rescue swimmers that goes into the surf zone to simulate someone in distress. And then we use our regular standard ready crew, which involves 2 pilots, 1 flight mechanic, and a rescue swimmer at the duty station coming out to simulate a rescue of that person in the surf zone. So what that is we locate the person in the surf, we deliver our rescue swimmer to that person and use the appropriate rescue device or rescue method to get that person out of the surf zone. We have various types of rescues, so it really depends on the situation, and we practice all of those at training events like today. It's a very difficult and dangerous environment, so when we can do it in a controlled manner like we can today, training using the Harbor Master's office as our crutch and cover, that when we get good at it in these controlled environments, when we're out there and the seas aren't within our training limits, we can operate more effectively and efficiently and be more confident in our abilities.